Welcome back to another episode of the Scamp. Again, I should film this at the end so I know what I've done, but we're hoping to get the clutch and brakes working in this video. Yep, you heard it here first. Brakes and clutch, or clutch and brakes. We'll do the clutch first, and then we'll do the brakes. We'll go through the bits in a minute what I bought to explain what I'm thinking. Got the heater working again, that stopped working, which wasn't great. But the vacuum hose, or the air hose for the pump, had split. So once I spotted that, it was an easy fix. But once your hands start shaking, but we'll get that back on in a minute, heat this place up a little bit. Again, thank you for all the likes and subscribes so far. Please keep doing it. I'm still contemplating Frank at the moment, but let's forget Frank for the moment. Let's go through the parts and some things that people suggested in the comments as well, just to prove that I do read them. Ooh, look big. Trying to get the light right here. These fluorescent strips being down low don't really help. All right, let's show you some bits. Well, as you can see over here in the time-lapse, hopefully, Madison, that I've unwrapped this, and this is aluminium. I measured up some fuel tanks, 2 aluminium fuel tanks to go on the other side of this. Going to make them. I've ordered some bits up. We're going to TIG weld. We were going to look the bollocks. Got some more aluminium to make a new roof as well. Maybe I ordered that too thin. But anyway, that was coming. Then I saw everyone in the comments. Some people said, how about using jerry cans? They might fit. And I sort of did a bit of a Google, and the measurements weren't too far off. As you can see here, the width is good. I think it's even a bit thinner. The only thing is they're a bit long and they don't fit because of the seatbelt. But if the seatbelt wasn't there, these would go in. I don't know which way I'd have them. But if I can think of something to do with the seatbelts, obviously I could mount them higher. I think I could maybe mount them down the front here, but obviously that's where that connection goes. If it wasn't for the seatbelts, those jerry cans would go in a treat. Just imagine that square in there. See, a little bit high, but it's not that bad. And flip thing, put some A-in fittings in the bottoms, bulkhead fittings. Away you go. I also thought you could make them quick release as well, so I want to remove them. But also, yeah, if you needed to fill up a mate's car because he's run out of petrol, you just whip a tank out. So if I can think of anything I can do with a seatbelt, I might. There is room for it inside there, and maybe I could run up. That's solid there, but I don't know. It's definitely worth an explore. I definitely think I'll take a seatbelt off if I get a bit of time at the end of this video and just try them in there and see what else we could do with the seatbelt. As I said, you could mount that rolled up high. It doesn't have to be mounted anywhere, really, as long as it's in a nice line with this seatbelt. Don't even run seatbelts. Put harnesses on. Maybe I can get seatbelts that are built into the seat as well. I don't know if you can do that. Is there? I wonder if there is that. There's only seats that I could maybe fit in here that have got built-in seatbelts in, like for minibuses or something like that. That would eliminate that problem as well. Anyway, clutch. Okay, maybe I just want to talk quickly about the brakes. As I said before, there's a brake pressure regulator that was to the back that's missing. And it's not missing, it just was never there originally. And that's because I'm pretty sure, 98%, don't quote me on anything, that this, when me and my dad had it, it was a minivan, 80s minivan, and they were all drums in. And I'm pretty sure, and we've done a little bit of research and chatting to a few other people, that early drum minis, all drums at the front, drums at the back, didn't have a brake bias valve. They, or brake pressure regulator, whatever you'd like to call it. Bias valves a bit, and then you get the compensator valve as well, which is on it. But anyway, forget that, that's all different. So anyway, there was no valve in between anything because the piston sizes determined how much force was applied on the rears to the front and stuff like that. When you go discs, they're much more efficient, so less pressure and still the same amount of braking. So what happens is less pressure to the front, more pressure then goes to the back if you just slam on it. That's why you need some sort of regulator, some sort of valve, and that's what the late minis do. So what I'm going to do is I've just got myself a generic eBay one. We've used these on a few other cars. Dad's used one on the Rochdale. And yeah, they do. And then we plug it at the front. The mini ones are quite expensive, mostly for a reason as well. But anyway, these should still work. We just put it in the front as it goes to tees off to the back. It did come with these brass fittings. It's a bit of a weird thread. I think it's like a BSP thread on here, and then they come with these weird fittings which are very short threaded in there. And my dad recommended and buying some more fittings which are BSP but then UNF on the end there, male, and then we're gonna do this basically, and we got a male fitting on there. So I've made up a link pipe already to go to this to the T-piece. What we need to do now, or we will do, is cut off the male end that's on the pipe that comes from the back of the car, and we're gonna re-flare it and put this pipe female socket on first. And we get there. And we've also got a new clutch master cylinder, so let's just get that whacked in, get it filled up, and see if we can get a clutch to work. We'll see if we can get some progress to go. Yeah, progress. And we're gonna put the heater on as well. Clutch master cylinder plumbed back in. What I need to do now is get inside and put the split pin and the clevis pin, whatever, the pin in with the split pin in to stop that coming out, and then we can try and bleed it. So sometimes these go really easy, sometimes they go really horribly, and that's where my missing glove is. I lost a spanner a second ago, it was in my pocket. Okay, right tool for the right job, as I say. Yeah, that's split pin, R clip. Anyway, so that's that. That's the fuel and fuel. We should go now pump the clutch a bit. And obviously nothing actually happens because we haven't bled it. So that's the next job. 10mm go, and we try and bleed it. That was a bit of a carry-on. We put the master in, I started bleeding it, still didn't bleed. Bled it from the top, seemed to be good. Thought, great, at least it wasn't doing that before, but anyway. And then basically, yeah, I then disconnected the slave cylinder, held it up high, still didn't do anything. I disconnected it right off the hose. Then I was able to bleed the hose using my fingers on the banjo, and that worked. And I thought, okay, must be the slave now. Or was the slave all along? And basically, yeah, I had a poke around in where the bleed nipple goes. It was blocked. Welding wire through it, cleaned it all out. Maybe not ideal because there's mostly some crap in there. Flushed it out a little bit. Made sure all the other holes were good. We've bled it, and now it works. And I'll show you. On full zoom mode, trying to block out the little music. So I've got to try and lift my leg up. Oh, get out. There we go. I'm hoping that's enough. Pretty sure the clutch don't move very much anyway. That's fine anyway. Clutch is moving as soon as I press the pedal anyway, so that's good. Can't really do much more. Maybe a bit more leverage in the pedal, but it was working before, so tick job done. I think I'll bleed the brakes now before I've got to do this thing before I put all the battery box back in, just so we can get down to this and double check stuff. And see where the brake light switch is, which I think is there. I don't know if that was ever wired in. Okay, we're now down the end with the compressors. Keep the lens clean, Madison. I've disconnected this one now. This is the tee-off that goes down to the back. I've just put the spare bit of pipe that I've used. I'm going to use in a bit just to stop it leaking. I was hoping there's going to be a little bit more slack on that. There isn't. So I'm gonna have to just see if there's any more below. If not, we'll chop the end off and just see what we can do. We'll have to. I don't really want to put a joiner in, which you could do. I mean, it's not the end of it. It's not impossible either. You know, proper correct joiner and you'll be all right. But we'll see. Okay, you gotta love the sound of compressors in the morning. Anyway, so we managed to get a fitting on here. We managed to grab another 1/2 inch, pull the pipe up. We can just go that way. And then we've got this one that goes round. It's not perfect, but it'll still work. The other day I bent up a bracket, drilled and thread that, so we can put that through there. What I'm gonna do now is just drill 2 holes and then put some riv nuts in, and that'll get clamped down there once we get that painted. But to be honest, to bleed it, I just need to drill the holes and get the riv nuts in while this is out of the way. And then, for bleeding, I don't need to have the bracket on, if you see what I mean. I just need to make sure it fits, and then we can paint it and then put it back on later. Okay, you can watch me at the same time to see if this completely unmeasured bracket, I just eyeballed it. We'll take it off later to paint it, don't you worry everyone. Talk over the copyright music. I can't sing, so that's that. I've just got some not very nice screws to go in the actual valve for the moment. I'll get some stainless ones at some point. And I think we're screwed on first. That one first. Maybe it was easier to put the fittings on first, and then we'll make it fit. There we go. Come on, get these bang on. These fittings, any fittings, brake fittings, if you haven't got them perfectly aligned, don't screw in. Oh, my flathead screwdriver's gone. Especially on the floor somewhere. Oh, it's right there. Lovely, look at that. Look at that, guys. Real-time fitting of stuff that I've made that works. Need to line this top one up now. There it goes, it's fitting. Yeah, put a bit of satin black on that. Now look lovely. More, wow, like a race car. All right, let's get the fittings tightened up and let's try and do some bleeding before we run out of time. Okie dokie, well that's all tight. I'm just pumping the brake now. And I can see the reservoir going down, which in some people's minds should be good. But it means it's coming out somewhere. We've got to figure out where. Obviously there's either a leak or I've left one of the bleed nipples undone. So let's have a quick look around. Could be just filling up a bit of the system because the air will compress to a certain extent. But yeah. Masking tape don't stick very much to anything else apart from itself, isn't it? Now you can get self-bleed kits that put vacuum on one side or pressure on the other side and then suck through. We don't have any of that because I don't bleed brakes very often. So we're going to go the old school method of a pole, or in this case the jack handle on the brake pedal, and then just slowly go around to everyone and try to see if we can bleed anything and get any sort of brake pedal. So cue the Benny Hill music, Martin. Let's try. Would you believe I've got brake issues? And would you believe it could be related to this valve? Valve, pressure regulator, or whatever you want to call it. Goes in, out. I've got that connected, correct. Basically, I'm not getting any out the out. Regardless of what pressure or whatever I do with this. I think my dad said he had a problem as well. Yeah. Interesting. We're going to run out of time in a minute. Leave all your comments below. Don't buy Chinese rubbish. Yes. Should have fitted the standard one on the back, mini one. Yes, I should have done, shouldn't I? Oh, hindsight. Okay, gonna have to give my dad a call and see if he did have a problem, but I can't remember what it was. I remember him taking this apart and looking at it, but he did get it to work. So let's go find out what he did. Sorry about the screen. Hang on a second. A little bit better, isn't it? But yeah, it doesn't matter what setting I've got it on. I did take it apart, and when the plunger's slightly lifted, I can blow air through it. So maybe it's just designed for a much higher pressure braking system. But I would have thought if you just move the pedal slowly when there's no pressure, it should work. So it's either just cheap Chinese stuff that hasn't worked. Maybe it's labelled up back to front as well. Who knows? Let's go have some pizza and think on it. Okay, been another day, chatted to my dad and realised that buying a cheap, generic, maybe Chinese pressure regulator wasn't the best thing to do. We've done it before, so use this channel. Don't use me as, oh, that's how to do it, Matthew. I'll copy you. Learn by my mistakes. Don't buy cheap. You can buy cheap in certain things. Bog roll, bin bags, pressure regulators, spend the money. We've ordered up a proper known brand one. When it gets here, we'll try it. I'll say whatever brand it is just to be on the safe side. May have to change the fittings again. So, yeah, we're not driving in this video. I was hoping to. I'm getting way behind with this project. Surprise, surprise, don't we all? But we did get the clutch to work so far. Let me just show you the jerry can I've been working on. Just used my spare jerry can that I used to fill up the heater. So it was full of diesel, it's not now. I'm not going to use this one, I was just using it for size. We cleared out some bracketry and stuff that was holding where the fuel tank goes. And so yeah, actually fits in there quite well. It's nice and snug. Doesn't ignore that tank, that wouldn't be there. If we removed the seatbelt, this age vehicle, we could go back to non-inertia seatbelts, but we could maybe do something with that anyway. The only problem here is actually, if you look now, my driver's seat, which is obviously I'm a slightly taller person, is further back. So literally, I don't think, it would maybe go in, but actually this tank over the other side isn't going to fit. So we could, you know, it's 20 litres, so it's not a bad sized tank anyway, even for just driving on along, you know, for this car. So we could just stick with one, and the passenger seat always has to be slightly further forward. It's not the end of the world. Who cares about the passenger? I'm not the passenger, am I? I'm the driver's seat. The next problem would be putting some fittings on it. You can get bulkhead fittings maybe. I've got some that come in, which I'm going to use on that small tank in a minute, I'll show you. But trying to get a washer and a nut down there, it's not impossible, but gee, I'm not a surgeon. I'm not a doctor, Jim. But otherwise, yeah, if I've got a new tank, I could quite easily weld a TIG welder AN fitting on. It wouldn't be a problem. So we may still go with that one because it'd be thing, but we have got some bits that arrive for the tank, so maybe we should just plough on and try and make our aluminium tanks. But now, thinking about that, I just need to remember about the rear, the driver's seat, that it needs a bit more space, so we may have to go for a slightly angled fuel tank as well. Who knows? We go from 1 minute from saying don't buy Chinese stuff till showing you the next bit that I've got that I've bought from Chinese. So, yeah. all we can do is try these and see if they fit. So that's, you know, there we go, that goes on there. Washer. And you put the nut on the other inside. Obviously this tank, I can get my hand in, so it's a bit easier. I'll say that. Okay. Anyway, and I've got some cats as well, not too sure if we're going to need all those. That's if we use this tank, but at least we've got some fittings, and I'm pretty sure we'll use this tank somewhere along the line for some need. And I picked up some of these as well. It's 2-inch diameter. Again, if I don't use them on this project, they're handy things to have around and help practice my TIG welding on. I think we got some things to do that we can't. Let's just ignore the brakes a moment until the other parts come. Let's admit, we're not going to get there. We've got some nuts and bolts and then joints to grease up on the front. We've got the boots that go on the steering rack. We need to put the clips on those, cable ties or whatever. We haven't done that, so let's get all that all buttoned up, sir. And yeah, make some sort of video out of this. This is going so well. Oh, when you find one problem, you find many problems. Well, I actually got the tie wraps on the steering gaiter. Wow, I did something. I then thought, what do I need to do? I was going to tighten up all the bolts. Couldn't find the socket, don't know where that's gone. I then went to look at the drive shaft. You can't really see it in there, but I saw a pool of oil, which was sort of oily on the ground. I noticed that the other day, so that's why I put the cardboard under there. And I just noticed the drive shaft was popped out. I thought, oh, okay, I'll just pop it back in. And I pushed it back in, but it just went straight back in. There's normally like some sort of little clip on there which sort of clips on. And I was able just to pull the CV joint off again. In a CV joint, this is into the gearbox. So that needs to come out to figure out why the clip, you know, it could be just worn. Then I started poking around. I thought, let's do something else. And I know there's rust in these bottom corners, which I noticed that ages ago, and it is on the list to do. So I started digging them out, and as you can see, they've gone on both the ends. So basically, somehow water or whatever's got into here somehow, and it's just settled in the bottom there. How it got in there is another question. It could have got in from the front, you know, just blown down. That is a joint, so it's only in the corner. So they're fairly thin. I think they're 2 sort of mil thick. So we'll patch that up, but then I might put like a 3 mil section on the bottom edge, because it's quite a good place to jack. Not that, Jesus, this metal's strong enough when there's no rust for it to be jacked on anyway, but maybe, you know, like a little L-shaped section of a 2 mil. I guess we could even make it so it's sort of got a pin on it or something that you use for the actual jack stands. We'll have to have a look. You know, that'd be quite handy, wouldn't it? Actually an axle stand or a scissor jack would actually lock on. This isn't the most wildly exciting video again. I was hoping that my luck might change having a bit more space, but at least we were doing this. There was no way I was going to be doing any of this with it stuck outside in the cold, so at least we're making progress regardless of if it's bad progress. Okay, it's been a week. I've been ill, still a bit ill, still a little bit. Been away for work for a few days as well. Weekend, never got any time, so we're back. It's like a whole week. I've missed videos. I'm not going to say sorry because you told me not to. But anyway, we spent the money and got ourselves a decent regulator. Pressure regulator. That's not a decent one, that's a crappy one. This is a decent one. ODP. I bought some stuff from them in the past, it all works fine. I should have just bought this one in the first place. It seems to blow through properly, has proper fittings on it, metric fittings, where the other one had BSP threads and then I had to get some adapters, and I'm sure the other one does work. Who cares if it does? I'm sure you could get it to work. This one seems to work already, it's just on the bench, so we need to modify the bracket, we need to chop the connections off, put metric fittings on, which is the only thing, it's not the end of the world, everything else is universal, UNF, but it's not the end of the world, not a problem at all. So yeah, let's modify the bracket first, then do the fittings. Okay, that's sorted. Slightly thinner than the other one, so I will use different bolts, but anyway, in out's pretty much in the same position, so we just need to cut the other ends off and redo the brake pipes. Okay, sit rep, where are we? We've got our new brake bias pressure regulator valve thingy fitted, working. I'm bleeding one of the rear drum brakes, pressure going to the back, brilliant. Tried to bleed the other side, the driver's side, nothing coming out. And the pedal doesn't going down. I don't think it's anything to do, because if I slacken that one off, I can go slowly down with the pedal. So, it must be getting, there's a T-piece at the back here. Fluid must be getting there because it's coming out this side. Basically, there's no fluid coming to this side radius arm. It seems like at the moment. So it could be a crimped pipe, or it could be the rubber hose connection's broken down inside and it's now causing a blockage. I do have some spares, I think. Okay, I undid the fixed copper pipe that goes into the flexi hose here, and yeah, as you can see, leaking brake fluid. Press the pedal, goes all the way to the floor. So yeah, this stupid hose is gone, which more than likely I should change the other side. I think I've got 2 spares somewhere. I think they're at home. We'll have to just see. If I haven't, we'll have to order some more up. So this is real life, I'm afraid, guys. I knew I wasn't that stupid. Look, I'd bought some new hoses to go on the back. We're rocking, we might. Oh, we're running out of time, we've got about half hour left. Oh, yes! Yeah, still a bit of air in there still, but whoa, we've got a pedal and brakes that work all round. Each side is getting fluid. We've bled each side. I'm sure each one corner could be bled again. And before we do, we're going to replace that pipe, because if that side's gone, we'll do this side as well. So I am really pleased that we've actually got some brakes going again. Keeping an eye out for some leaks. That's a bit of dampness, a bit of fluid there from earlier. Just checking down in there, is all good. Checking on the floor, see if we get any new wet patches or anything dribbling down hoses. But yeah, you always get a little bit of movement, I found, especially when you've got drums on the, these mini setups, but there's definitely a bit of air still left in there. I'm trying to bleed the damn thing myself, so without any easy bleed kit. But yeah, there's me thinking we were going to drive it this episode and go forward and backwards and do all sorts, get it outside, jet wash it. It hasn't happened, but whoa, yes. Next time we come back, fix that hose, finish the welded off, do all the nuts and bolts up, and then we can take it for a bit of a forward and back movement. Well, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for sticking with me. Bit of a pause between videos. I can't promise I'm going to keep doing the same, but who knows what's going to happen. But the next video I'm going to have to be on this again. I really need to get this mobile, so forward, backwards, brakes. I can move things around, then I can work on some other stuff as well. I've still got the camper van gearbox to do, which I haven't even thought about and when I'm going to do that. January is just disappearing, isn't it, for all of us, I think. And then we've got Frank. But we've got one thing to show you, and let me just do that now. There we go. Got ourselves a new Lemmy poster off eBay. So someone did say about getting it framed. I'll see what I can find. Frames seem to be expensive. Maybe I can find something down a charity shop. I think I might have something in the loft somewhere actually, but yeah, maybe just a bit of a clear plastic. But yeah, Lemmy's back. Thanks to have us with us. Lemmy's not actually here, but he's here. And yeah. Okay, so wrap up. Hit like and subscribe if you can. It really does help. unimaginably. Don't be the adverts, watch the adverts as well, it's all good. And yeah, jerry can fuel tank, on and off, depending on the size and the seat belts. It may work, it may not work, but the brakes are working. So next time, let's get some welding done, get the nuts and bolts sorted out. And maybe a while before. I don't know what I'm doing about Frank. I've got to think about some Frank. I've got some ideas, they're still in there, but I've got loads of other things I'm dealing with which aren't car related at the moment. So things do take a back seat. All right, stay safe, everyone. Here's my Scamp. There's Frank. See you next time. Let us know what you're having for dinner. I think I'm gonna cook the wife a steak tonight. No comments, please.